It's week 17 of the golfing calendar. And live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia, Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, the most listened to Australian golf podcast since 1932. It's true, we checked. This is Talk Birdie to Me.
So let's start. Let's start off with, what time did you get home from LIV on Sunday night?
I got home much earlier than I thought because I wangled a LIV courtesy car Sunday night. I was there for the weekend.
You didn't do it. Don't you know who I am, did you?
I did not, but I played a card fairly close to that. No, I was there Saturday, Sunday doing the radio with SEN, and I went in there with open eyes. So let me start off with how I got home.
Yeah, please.
It was chaos at the end, obviously. You know, we've got the 4:30 finish in Adelaide time. And they've done the presentations. There are people everywhere.
Yeah. So 25,000 people on a golf course is like 120,000 at the MCG.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yep.
And they had music pumping the whole thing, and I'm trying to figure out how the heck am I going to get out of here to the airport? I know there's an earlier flight. You know, there's a flight an hour and a half early. I thought, I wonder if I can sneak on that. You know, but how am I going to get there? So I went to the clubhouse, saw all the LIV courtesy cars just going and going and going.
How many courtesy cars do they have?
Oh, it was countless. Basically, they're just a stream of them coming in, stream of them going out. Yeah, they spared no expense with anything there.
So for normally in an Australian Open, there'd be a dozen cars.
Yeah.
How many was at the LIV?
I
50.
don't know. Must have been 40 or 50, I would imagine, just going in and out. But so there was no shortage, obviously. And I was just sort of standing next to the clubhouse thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? Because Uber's out of the question. The SEN guys had an Uber coming a bit later, but I saw this guy directing traffic and I thought, I might go and have a chat with him.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, hey, I'm with the media, here's my badge. And he looked and he says, Nick O'Hearn, great. You fellow lefty. And I thought I've hit the jackpot.
Oh, he was a lefty too.
He was a lefty. And he said, and I said, well, I need to kind of get to the airport. Can I just hop in with someone in a car? Yeah. I'm happy to, share a ride.
You did not get a car by yourself.
And he said, no, don't worry. We got plenty of them. Just hop in. There you go. Boom, straight to the airport. Wow. Beautiful.
So there's 40,000 people looking for a ride and you jump in a car by yourself and get to the airport. You're unbelievable.
Well, we're in this cordoned off section and the players sort of hadn't started coming over. It was more some of the officials moving and going and all that. And then when I got to the airport, I lucked in as well because... got invited into the Chairman's Lounge with David Evans, a good mate of mine at Cathedral Golf Club. And when I asked to see if I can get on the earlier flight, I'd gone to the check-in and they said, no, you got no chance. I'm sorry. Your ticket's non-changeable. Got into the Chairman's Lounge and all of a sudden my ticket was changeable.
Oh, my God.
How good. So I got home an hour and a half early and it was beautiful.
Amazing. Oh, half your luck. Look, we got a big show. There's stacks to talk about. We had a women's major at the Woodlands. I want to briefly chat on that because our girls didn't do much good. We saw Mark Hensby win on the Champions Tour. And he won that at a golf course where I used to work in Las Colinas.
Yeah.
And then we had Lucas Herbert as well winning over in the DP World Tour. But this tournament was in Japan in a 2-hole playoff. So I want to talk about all that stuff.
So much, yeah.
I want to talk about all that stuff. But we have to talk about what I was watching on the TV because I've never seen anything like it. And I reckon it showed what it showed me on the weekend. It showed me two things. Crowds are so incredibly important for LIV Golf to move forward because we've seen golf tournaments that they've done in the past with not many people, let's say 10,000 people turn up, not the 25, and their ratings have been nothing. Now, I haven't seen what our ratings are, but I guarantee if they weren't the biggest ratings for a golf tournament in this country, I would be absolutely surprised because the product on TV, Nick, blew me away.
Yeah, I mean, it was on Channel 7, right?
Yep.
I thought it was on 7 Plus is what they said, but it was actually on Channel 7. It was
Seven Mate on Sunday. So they had the footy on Sunday.
Right.
They had on the main channel, and 7 Mate, they had the golf.
Okay.
But my God, I mean, once you started watching it, Nick, I know I want to get your view in a second because you were there. Once you started watching it, the first thing I had to get the hang of was the scoreboard.
Yep.
It took me about half an hour, but 30 minutes in, I knew exactly what and where to look for, and it worked pretty well. I've got to say. It worked pretty well after you got the hang of it.
It's kind of like a Formula One sort of style, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it still had, the player's name would go in bold. You'd see, if it was a par 4, there'd be 4 numbers and you knew it was his second shot.
Yep.
You'd see what he was for the day. Then you'd also see what they were for the tournament. But let's just quickly. The fans, a bit like EPL soccer, made the tournament. Made the viewing experience. If you watch Manchester United play Man City, and in an empty stadium, there's not much to see.
No,
really, until you see them score.
You saw the COVID with the footy when you had crowds.
That's exactly right. There's not much to see, but my God, when the crowd was so invested, and what I picked up, on the very first day, so Friday, we had 5,000 people standing on the green.
Really? I didn't see the Friday because I was doing other things. So.
They were on the green. They were literally standing on the frog hair, and there was encircled the green.
Is this on the final hole?
Yeah, final hole last day. Cam Smith and his group would have hit off the first on the first day.
Yep.
And on the last hole, it was 5 deep around the green. And I'm literally, normally it's roped off behind the bunkers. People were standing basically in front of the bunkers.
Wow. They gave them free rein.
It looked amazing.
Yeah. I saw that on the Sunday, obviously, when the tournament was finishing. So I rock up there on the Saturday morning, fly in early Saturday and tee offs at 11:30, 11:45 Adelaide time. Yeah. I get to the course about 9 o'clock, and I was actually thinking, I wonder how many people are going to be here at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was packed. I mean,
people... At 9 a.m.?
Yeah, there was cars streaming in, just people, going in straight away. Yeah. And it's the first thing you notice when you walk into the course, the music. It is everywhere. I went for
Is it the same tune right around the golf course?
Yes, yeah. So they've got some DJ playing something, I don't know, whatever it is, and then an MC also at the same time who comes over saying, this is what's... An American dude saying this is what's going to happen.
Was that on all holes or was it just on a select few holes?
So I did a lap of the course. I went ahead and walked, right? I wanted to just get a feel for the Grange because there's composite. I haven't been out there in a while just to get a feel for what the golf course was playing like.
Course looked good on telly, by the way.
Oh, I've never seen fairways shaved that low. It was incredible.
Really?
It was like slow putting greens. I mean, it was just, they were shaved incredibly low. So the course played really short, a lot of run. It was firm on the fairways. The greens were soft, very receptive, but they were quick.
Did it rain each night?
No, perfect weather. It was like low to mid-20s. I think they just wanted low scoring, and they obviously got it with Taylor Gooch the way he played. But there were people out on the golf course everywhere before they'd even hit off, obviously, trying to get their little spot.
Get their spot.
The music was pumping. I ran into quite a number of people, and they're all going, "Hey, Nick, what are you doing here? You should be playing." I'm like, "No, this is past me. I'm just here doing some radio, etc., etc." But the whole vibe was just a one big party sort of vibe, and I was curious to see, okay, what's going to happen come closer to the tee time. The range was all sectioned off because that's where all the players are. Because of the shotgun start, they all just go at once.
Yeah.
Putting green just mobbed as well. And then all of a sudden when it starts, sure enough, the shotgun, smoke going everywhere, the music sort of quietens down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then and away you go. So it was just fascinating from that part. From that perspective, I heard merchandise-wise, they just went through the roof. But the thing that blew me away was the infrastructure. When I got there, I thought, oh my gosh, after I walked the whole golf course, the grandstands, the stadiums, the media centre, around the clubhouse, the range, everywhere they just had, places for people to look, to watch. They had the big fan zone. It was the biggest fan zone I've ever seen. They got the stage down the end where, DJ Fisher did something on the Saturday night, the Friday night, and then they had Birds of Tokyo. And the people there, I mean, they were just having one massive party, and every now and then they go out and watch a golf shot.
The other thing that I learned is that Australian crowds, we've been starved of star fields for a long time.
Yeah,
we've had good fields, we've had decent fields, but you've never had names like Koepka, Johnson, Mickelson, Patrick Reed, whether you like him or not, he plays well in the big tournaments. Cameron Smith, and everybody that accompanied them.
Yeah,
to me, it was the best field I've seen in Australia for just a golf tournament for 25 years.
Yeah, excluding President's Cups, I think.
That's right.
In that regard. Yeah, no, for sure. But you'd have to go back to the 80s, 90s when Norman was in his halcyon days and Faldo and Langer and Monty and those guys used to come down. Yeah, absolutely. But it's to get those names there and people were eating it up. And there was so many non-golfing people there, I would say, that have all of a sudden it's just created a massive spark of interest for all these people to maybe pick up a golf club. I think it was fantastic for the game of golf.
Somehow they've got the spring racing carnival mentality. You know, you get 100,000 people at Flemington, or they're probably a little bit less than that these days. They've stopped the number. So you get 80 or 90,000 people. 80,000 of them don't go to the races except for that 1 week.
Yep.
And this is how you're going to tap into the big crowds again. I mean, they've just it's just found the way. Now, in saying that, I still feel like if you're serious about winning majors, then LIV's not for you.
Yep.
But if you are a person who wants to win major championships, then the PGA Tour is the only place for you to be. Because what I noticed Pat Perez do on the very last hole, I don't know whether you saw this, but Pat Perez, it's the best he's played in a LIV tournament. Yeah. He was going to make a lot of money.
He was going to make $1.5 million.
That's right. For 53 holes, Pat Perez was encouraging everybody to be as loud as possible.
Yep.
He had a tough shot on the 54th hole and needed to get it up and down.
Yeah.
And he was asking everybody to be quiet.
Yeah, they were almost in his backswing, I think, when he was trying to hit the chip shot on the green.
The shadows were on the ball. I mean, he was trying to chip a ball off a putting green over a corner of a green and trying to get it to stop. And if he got up and down, it was probably an extra 500,000 for him.
It was 500 grand.
So I don't care how much you're getting paid. 500,000, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see him try and calm everybody down. In the end, he knew it was impossible.
It would have been better for him to rev everyone up just so that you couldn't tell what noise was what. When it's quiet, that's when you can hear everything. So, and as you said, he was jumping up and down on the 12th green earlier when he holed that putt, and the beers going everywhere. And we can talk about that. But you're right. I think if you're serious about winning majors, PGA Tour, other world tours, there is a place for this though. That's the one thing I came away from this LIV experience was like, right, okay, this is actually very interesting.
Yeah.
As far as I guess in a nutshell, as I sort of said to before, it's kind of a big party. It still has that exhibition feel to it. Towards the end, with Taylor Gooch when he was struggling on midway through, I thought, okay, he's got to knuckle down here. And it started to feel a little bit like a tournament. But I'd say for 95% of the players who are well down, they're probably not that. It's just like kind of a normal hit and giggle type, maybe your Saturday comp, I don't know.
Well, let's talk about Taylor Gooch and his caddy, who was a West Australian kid called Malcolm Baker.
Malcolm Baker.
I know
Mel very well.
Yeah, so do I. I turned professional the same day as Malcolm did back in 1990.
Oh, wow.
We both did, and he was, he was okay. He used to make a few cuts here and there, but he was never going to make a living playing golf ever. But he's picked up 10% of $4 million US.
Oh yeah. And the team as well.
So he's probably made 800,000 Australian dollars for caddying for 3 days tournament and one pro-am and a couple of practice rounds.
The caddies are loving it, that's for sure. Because guaranteed money every week. They're getting all their expenses paid. Happy days for those guys. They're flying on private jets and things like that.
The biggest tournament that I can remember before this, and I'm not talking about this is just a normal regular tournament, was a $2 million Australian Open. Mm-hmm. So the winner won $360,000 for that one.
And the caddy gets 36. 10%.
Malcolm's made $800,000 caddying this week. So
it's frightening.
I mean, he's done incredibly well. I've got so many questions for you, Nick, because you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 2024 and we've just had this week, and next week, let's just say Clive Palmer's got a LIV event in Coolum, right? Mm-hmm. Would you watch again? Because I would. If it was on again next week, I'm watching again.
Yeah? I'd probably watch the final day, maybe, something like that. The first couple of days, it's I'm not sure. I was there, and if I was going to go to a golf tournament, I would go to possibly the final day of the LIV event, as in if I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah.
on TV, it doesn't really do much for me because it's funny, on the radio, the thing we found doing the radio is because everyone's on the course at once, it was, looking over here, looking over there. It was like a tennis match. It was because we had monitors in front of us, and to get used to the scoring you were talking about, I mean, that was my go-to. Well, it took me a little bit as well. That was what I was really focusing on, was that leaderboard. Okay, what shot is this? Which hole? Where are they? Etc. And then we had other monitors we could go off, but that was really tricky. And it was our normal TV commentary, for instance, but it was that times 10. As in intensity. Yeah. You're just going back and forth here and there, bang, 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 bang. There was no time to let things breathe, basically.
Yeah. Well, I noticed they've got commentators who don't know much about golf, to tell you the truth, apart from David Ferrity. Yeah. And I think that's fine. I reckon that's fine, actually, because they've just got the shotgun mentality where they don't want to have a chat about golf and have that laced with a few golf shots here and there. They just want to rip out as many shots and putts and drives as they possibly can.
Well, that's the younger generation mentality now with the phone. You scroll and, bang, flip, swipe, flip. They just want instantaneous gratification in a way, and that's kind of what the LIV Golf tournament feel is, I would think.
Okay. Question number 2. That's the best LIV event they've ever had by a million miles.
For sure.
A squillion miles. This was 10 out of 10. Most of the others have been 3 out of 10.
Yeah, they're going to Singapore this week, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, okay. What do they do to get it bigger in America? What could they possibly do? Because they've taken it to towns that have had big-time golf, and it hasn't been as supported as it was in Adelaide. I was saying before, if we've got 25,000 through the gates and that's the barometer, I reckon some of the tournaments in America, they might have only had 5,000 to 10,000. Yeah. Through the gates, and it just didn't work. I mean, it just wasn't the same thing. So if Greg and the boys from Saudi Golf want to get this thing really pumping every single week, what are they got to do?
So that's a very good question, and again, I'm not sure I have the answer for that.
Because it can't just work one week a year or 2 weeks a year. Yeah. It can't.
No, it can't. The thing about in America is they're not starved for golf, as in the big names. And they've really only taken tournaments there to venues that are not very good, I've got to be honest. They need to go to much better golf courses. And now I don't think that's going to happen in the States because the higher, the golf courses that hold the highest reputation are probably not going to have those events there because they don't want all the hoopla that goes along with LIV. Now, down here, because we are starved for golf, you have a great golf course like the Grange. I mean, that was a great venue for it. It worked out really well. But we're just so interested in seeing these players that we haven't seen for so long come down here. Over there, I'm not sure. Now, we got Greg into the radio booth to do about 10 or 15 minutes with us.
You spoke with Greg?
Yeah. We had
Shark.
Paddy Welsh, he's good mates, and he brought him in. So it was great to sort of pick his brain a little bit on how things are going to evolve and go forward.
So what'd you get out of Greg?
The biggest thing I found and what he said was, okay, at the moment, individual, they're playing for $20 million. Team event is for $5 million. He says the feedback I'm getting from the players now is they want to flip that. They want to have the team event for 20 and the individual for 5.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Is that like, I'm just thinking of myself right back in my day. If I'm a good player, I don't want to rely on 3 others. I do not want to rely on 3 others to make my biggest paycheck of the week. I'll look after myself.
Yeah. No, golf is an individual sport, but I think what the players are finding is they really are enjoying this team aspect. Right. And the way forward for LIV to succeed, and Greg has said this all along from a financial perspective, and now are they really in it for the financial? Who knows? With the Saudi money and all that. That's another discussion. The franchising of the teams is where they're going to make their money. So they almost have to focus on the teams more than the individual if they want this whole product to work.
Is that going to work for the credibility of...
So there goes the world ranking points for one.
World ranking points out the window,
yes.
if that's the case. They'll never come back. For the credibility of the quality of play, okay, if you've got players purely focused on team.
Well, there's still going to be individual. There will still be individual, obviously, but it's, again, this is what he said in this conversation.
Yeah, okay.
They're having discussions at the moment, and the feedback he's getting from a lot of the players is we need to reverse the prize money.
I can imagine
more team, less individual, which because I think they love as in $20 million for the team event and $5 for the individual event, right? So because I think a lot of the players, what they feel on the LIV Golf Tour is it almost feels like they're going back to college golf, and they love that team aspect, the bonding.
It is good. I play college golf. It's fantastic.
So you know all about that.
It's great.
I mean, the most, as a team, I felt was in President's Cups and in World Cups when I had partners, Dunhill Cups.
You would have loved it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. However, I'm an individual person in nature, so I just want to succeed.
All right, so I'll give you an example, okay, why I can't see it working.
Right.
Cameron Smith is the captain of the Rippers.
Yep.
They were dead last for most of the week.
Yeah, they rallied. They showed
they
some Aussie spirit.
8th or something?
Yeah.
they
only top
8th.
3 get paid. So.
Okay. So if I'm Cam Smith, there's no way I want to play. I don't want it reversed. No way in the world, because I'm going to make stacks more money just being the individual dude.
I completely agree. However, you know what? I think he's good for money. Because you know how much they probably would have paid him to go? It was well into the 9 figures. It's more than 9 figures what they paid him to go, obviously. Yeah, so he's not too worried about the money. He's he's just trying to help Greg get this thing going. Now, I don't know if he thinks the team event's the way to go. I'm just going on what the Shark told me.
Okay. We've spoken everything about it. We haven't spoken about Taylor Gooch's first 2 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to lead, now I don't care who was playing. I don't care if you got the 100 hottest players in the world to tee it up on Thursday, he's still leading by 5 or 6. The 62-62 around that joint.
To back it up, that was the impressive thing. You see 62s now and then, but you never see 2 in a row.
Yeah. I'm always big on this. The big lead always gets whittled back.
You know what? I was thinking of you when he started gagging.
so the 10-shot lead, honestly, I thought he was going to. I really did think he was going to cruise. I thought he'd shoot 68 or 67. The way he's going, because he didn't miss any shots. He didn't miss a shot for the first 2 days.
Yeah, and he started off rock solid the third round, and then he held a bomb on about the 4th or the 5th, and he was 21 under. You go, okay, here we go.
And then he dropped 4 shots in 4 holes. Now, I didn't see what was going on. I've only seen the box scores. What did it look like to you? Did it look like a gag, or was he just the ball just bounced his way? Or?
No, he was taking yes, he was taking something that made the nerves just go in the opposite direction what he had to. And it kind of snowballed on him. There was like the 8th hole, I think he just had a wedge, 80 or 90 metres, completely sculled it straight over the back. Ends up holing about a 50. Knifed it. Oh. Paddy Walsh was out there saying, I can't believe what I've just seen. I mean, this guy's flushing it and he's just completely knifed it. It was like watching an 18 handicapper. And then he ended up holing about a 15-footer for bogey. I mean, he almost...
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I didn't see this.
So the previous hole, the par 5, he'd bogeyed. Bit of a sloppy bogey. You can excuse one, right? And he hadn't made a bogey in 40-something holes. Yeah. And then on 10 is a par 5. He's still got 2 par 5s coming up. So thinking, he's just going to cruise and make 1 or 2 birdies, no problem. On 10, greenside bunker in 2, takes 5 to get down. He sculls it straight over the back, knocks it up 3 putts, 7. And you're going, hang on, here we go. And this is where a good caddy comes into it, and I'm sure Mal calmed him down and probably wanted to hit some shots for him because, Mal likes to think he can play better than his player.
That's accurate.
Here's a story on that one. I was playing. So he used to caddy for Greg Chalmers.
That's right.
Back in the day, and then he went to Tom Hogan. But I was playing with Greg first couple of rounds at Disney. The Disney tournament in Orlando.
Just imagine what you're about to say.
10th hole's a par 5. First hole of our day, it's like, we're starting on 10. It's a bit coldish, a bit dewy. And anyway, I've hit a nice drive down. It's usually a reachable par 5, but it's playing long because it's colder. Yeah. I hit my 3-wood down there, just short of the green. Greg's hit a good one down there, just short. And as we're walking down, Mal's just going, geez, you guys are hitting it pretty short these days. I said, what do you mean? He says, I would have probably hit a 2-iron on the green there.
That's what he was like.
Oh, yeah. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I have put a call in.
I get on great with Mel.
I have put a call in to try and get him.
Oh, good. Okay.
So you might have to come back tomorrow or the next day. But
cool.
It'll be worth having a chat to him.
Yeah. Well, I saw him
he's
after.
flying to Singapore.
Yeah, I'm sure. I saw him after I congratulated him. He was doing interviews.
Was he?
Oh, yeah. He's getting all the media stuff done. It was great. No, good luck to him. It was an awesome week for him.
Chase Koepka at 12. The watering hole. He's posing.
Chase Koepka. Oh! There it is! There it is! We promised you an ace on 12, and Chase Koepka has delivered!
Okay, mate, I was doing the radio, and one of the highlights of the 3 days, obviously on the last hole, they got the 12th hole, the watering hole.
Great name.
Yeah.
Sensational
It's
name.
it's a mini version of 16 at Phoenix, the stadium hole.
They had a couple of good names. They had Club 54 as well, which is a little, a bit of a play on words for Studio 54.
Studio. I like that.
So
That was
Club
good.
54 was good, yeah.
I was doing radio, I had headphones on, and all of a sudden I could hear through the headphones this massive roar. It was Chase Koepka holding one. Did you see it on the TV?
Yeah, I did. And the tournament, it deserved it. You know, it actually deserved that. And it was great. And the way it handled and the clean-up afterwards was even fantastic
What
as well.
I was thankful for was the previous day they were throwing cans out there, right? And apparently a volunteer might have got hit the previous day with a full can of beer, which is not good. That day, they went to the plastic cups, thankfully, because it was raining beer. And Leishman Lager, I mean, Leish, he must have just been so happy because they had to go refill and every time they were throwing it out there.
So good. Hey, what was that DJ's name again that you'd spoken about?
Oh, DJ Fisher, I think. Right?
Yeah, well, look, as we go to the turn, okay, I'm going to see you on the 10th tee shortly. Just have a listen to the party atmosphere each night after rounds 1, 2 and 3.
You're listening to the Talk Birdie Jimmy podcast with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. If you're enjoying the pod, share it with a friend and help spread the word.
Okay, Nick, nice drive down the middle of the 10th. I do want to ask you now, in 2024, the PGA Tour has flagged that there will be an international series of events. Next year, instead of 120 people being exempt and into the FedEx Cup, it's only going to be 70. After the FedEx Cup, they have the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, whichever one it is. Then after that, they're going to have an international series of events.
Okay.
And this is the top 70 players. So if you finish in the top 70, not only do you get all the FedEx Cup money, but you have then the opportunity to go and play in these no-cut events around the world. We're growing the game at the PGA Tour all of a sudden. So this is all the stuff. This is what LIV Golf has basically forced the PGA Tour to do, which will be great. I'm 100% certain that we will be getting one here in Australia.
I hope so.
It is a mortal lock. It is. I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing it.
Okay, all right.
The people we always broadcast out of headquarters. They might listen to this and go, "What are you talking about?" But I've got. I'm absolutely certain.
Okay.
If they're going to have international series of events, and they have just seen what our starved public. How they turned out, we are going to get one.
We need to do the commentary for it, I think.
So we know Queensland's got the Australian PGA. We know the Australian Open is in New South Wales. And we know that the Sandbelt Classic looks superb. So it would be my wish. I don't know what sort of a tournament we're going to get.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine that if the Victorian government, which will need the sponsor it, that they will need a postcard going out to the rest of the world.
For sure.
So what better way? I mean, if you are a premier of a state who loves golf, g'day Dan, if you happen to listen to the podcast, he's best mates with Jay Monahan. Right? He deals with Jay Monahan. He doesn't get the Minister of Sport to do it. Dan Andrews deals with Jay Monahan.
Really?
Yeah. If that all happens, and we've got, let's say, the 3 courses of Victoria, Kingston Heath and Royal Melbourne, and that's a postcard around the world, you can kind of have 20,000 people at each course.
Oh, you could have unlimited numbers, I'd think.
Unlimited. So if you had you had Rory McIlroy and John Rahm, you had everybody else, just the top 70 players from each year.
Could you imagine?
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So if there is an international series of events, I mean, if they're true to their word and this is what they're talking about, we're going to get one.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope it's that.
Yeah.
I hope it is a Sandbelt Classic style event. It makes so much sense. And I wish they could do it in a way where it was right around the PGA and the Australian Open.
Oh, wouldn't that be good?
So if they did that...
And keep them here for an extra week or something.
If they had the PGA in front of it and the Australian Open behind it and we just picked off some players each... Then all of a sudden, in 2024, I will happily say that on our schedule, you'll have a LIV event in Adelaide, you'll have a LIV event at Coolum or New South Wales, whoever picks it up, and then you'll have a PGA Tour event in Victoria, and then you've got the PGA and the Australian Open. It can't make any more sense than that, can it?
No.
I don't think it possibly can.
That's the ultimate growing the game, as they say.
Now, and the crowds being back. you know, and seeing our beautiful sandbound golf courses down here and going up to Queensland and, you know, the pitches going back around the world. It's just a postcard for golfers around the planet. Adelaide looked the picture. Yeah. And that on the back of, you know, the week before they had Gather Round. My God, what a festival it's been in Adelaide.
They're just
anyway
killing it over there,
hey,
aren't
it's
they?
time to tell us. Let's talk. Can we talk about Lucas Herbert?
Lucas
God, we've
Herbert.
almost forgotten Luke. Yeah. Lucas Herbert has won a tournament on the worst possible weekend to win a tournament because of everything that's been happening back here.
Yeah.
But how good was that?
It was fantastic, yeah. Again, I didn't see much of it because I haven't caught up, but I did see the closing holes and the playoff. I managed to watch that. And down the stretch, he was clutch.
Well, he got a nice little drop. He got a nice drop on the second hole.
Do we want to talk about that drop? Or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. He got a drop, took a full advantage, and in this game you get far more bad breaks than you get good. So when you get a good break, you bloody take it every single time.
Yep.
Took the drop, and then, I don't know, there must have been official right there, but he was taking a lot of practice swings.
Yeah. No, that's fine. You can take practice swings.
Yeah.
One of them, I must have noticed, he was 2 or 3 metres behind the ball, and he's got his wedge out, bangs the ground. And it looks to me as though he's going, how hard is this? Bangs it and then takes a practice swing. And I thought, I'm not sure you're allowed to do that. But
I reckon,
did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And I reckon he was far enough away from the ball for it to be okay. Ridgy Didge.
All right.
So,
I mean, it has no bearing on the shot.
I think if you're doing that next to the ball, people would be worried. But I think in that situation, when he did it so far behind the ball, I think that gets a tick.
Okay.
In my view, that's okay.
Yeah.
If right next to it, I would have been squirming in my seat.
Yeah. Okay.
But the shot he hit and the putt, you know,
it was all close. I mean, what was it? With the first playoff hole, he almost chipped it in from the back edge, and then the other guy, Cockrell,
leaped out.
I mean, he does a little horseshoe. I mean, he must be counting his lucky stars, old Lucas Herbert there. Yeah. But it was...
And that putt was in. The Cockrell putt was in.
Yeah.
That was
in. It was going slow. It was dying. It was beautiful. Anyway, but again, Lucas, you know, he just comes up in the clutch at those moments when you need to rise, and what separates people between the good and the great. He has that. Whatever that X factor is, he has it.
Mark Hensby, I've never met Mark in my entire life. You would have been on the tour at the same time with him. But he had a win on the Champions Tour.
I know.
Beat Charlie Wee in a playoff.
I played President's Cup with Mark Hensby back in 2007. No, 2005 actually. It was he almost burnt. Well, I'm gonna overdo the story. He almost burnt down the White House. So how's that?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard. This is accurate.
Oh, you've heard this one?
Yeah, okay, go on. Please tell me. So, tax people would never have heard it.
So we're having the dinner, you know, the night before, 2 nights before at the White House. That's what you do when you're in Washington DC, because that's where we were playing the President's Cup. Yeah. Got to meet George W. and his wife Laura and all that. You know, doing all the dignitaries. We're having dinner in whatever stateroom it is that they have, all the round tables, and there's some pretty heavy hitting people in the room. Condoleezza Rice and you name it.
Augusta member now, Condoleezza.
Yes,
He's
saw
a member
that,
of Augusta.
But anyway, I didn't see it, but I heard the rumour that he was playing around with a candle or something, and he set his napkin on fire at the table or something like that. And they had to come along and extinguish it or something. Now, I'm not sure that's true, but is that something around what you heard?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. I've heard another story about Mark Hensby where it was the Saturday of the President's Cup. You're all on the team bus.
Yep.
And I think Bill Clinton came up into the bus.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I was there.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well,
I think Mark Hensby gave him a get out of here, sort of get out.
Oh, really?
Get off our bus.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
That's what I've heard.
I must have been up the other end.
Okay. Well, at least he did come up. You saw Bill Clinton come into your bus?
Oh, yeah. Bill was in there. Yep.
Well, at least that part of the story is accurate.
Yes. No, he was there.
But he must be a loose unit, Hensby.
If he did, he was probably... Yeah, he's a very loose unit, by the way, back then. He was probably making a joke of it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure Bill took it fine. He was actually pretty cool.
And by the way, Richard Grange shot the low round of the day at that joint, 6 under par, and finished fourth.
Fourth, yeah. It's only a matter of time before he does something really special, I think.
It's almost worth putting $50 on Richard every single week at the moment, because he'll be 40, 50 to 1 every single week, and he will win one. He'll win one soon. Our girls didn't go so well at the first major of the year.
No, the Chevron
at the Woodlands.
at Woodlands, there in Texas. There looked like a really good golf course, by the way.
Yeah, I've played a Texas Open there.
Oh right, okay.
But not the Texas Open that's on the PGA Tour. The Texas Open when it was just a state, just a state tournament. But they had it at the Woodlands, and it was a fantastic golf course. That's what I remember it being absolutely brilliant. But our girls didn't go so well.
No, unfortunately, miscut by Sarah Kemp, Hannah Green, Grace Kim, which was a bit of a surprise after she won that event the other week. But 3 girls did. The best was Minjee Lee tied 41st. Steph Kuriako tied 49th, and Karis Davidson tied 56th. But Lilia Vu defeated Angel
that's it.
Angel Yin on the first playoff hole, and
then jumped in the water.
Oh, she did. I was wondering if she did. I didn't see that part.
The tradition continues.
But there's been massive raps on this Lilia Vu, so we'll see how her career progresses.
I've got to say, I didn't see any of it because I was transfixed to what was happening on Channel 7.
Rain Gibson had another top 10 on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Did he?
Yeah, he's playing some great golf. Finished
How old
tied
is he
8th.
now, Ran?
I don't know. I'll have to look into that one.
He's got to be 40 years old, Ran Gibson.
But he's 4th on the Corn Ferry Tour money list now.
Yeah,
He's had like 3 or 4 top 10s. He had the win earlier. And Druitt's 2, Gibson 4. Dimi Papadakis is 23rd on the Corn Ferry Tour money list.
Come on, Dimi.
Top 25, I think, get their cards. So we could have 3 more guys on the PGA Tour at the end of this year, hopefully.
Righto, it's time for our top 5. Nick, this week's top 5.
All right.
This is on the back of LIV Adelaide. My 5 loudest moments on a golf course.
Golf, but louder.
So, this is a Ryder Cup match, and it was the whole match. Rory McIlroy versus Patrick Reed. You know the match I'm talking about, where they were pointing at each other, and the hole and putts on top of each other, and the crowd was going absolutely ballistic.
Yeah.
From the first tee to the 18th green or wherever they finished, loud.
It started off with Rory holding a hand to his ear going, I can't hear you, when they were screaming, and then Reed gives it the big shush, after he made a putt. It was hilarious.
Greg Norman versus Nick Faldo, 1990 Australian Masters.
Wow.
The crowds were 10 deep the whole round. And Greg Norman chipped in on the 7th there at one stage, and the joint went absolutely ballistic. I wasn't playing, but I was there.
You were there? Okay.
I was there. I was in the clubhouse, and the clubhouse was shaking.
Wow.
The roar was so loud. My number 3 all-time winner, Jack Nicklaus.
Oh, yeah.
1986 Masters.
Oh, yes.
The putt on 17. Absolutely ripped the telly apart. My TV was vibrating. The noise came through. The telly was so loud. It was
the call
crazy.
Was maybe, yes, sir.
Now, this one I'm going to put in there, and I almost changed it, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Tiger's chip on 16 at Augusta.
Oh, yeah. Against DeMarco.
Yeah, you were there, weren't you?
I was there. Yeah, that was 2000 and...
You were there?
I think it was 2005.
And loudest ever?
Yeah, I was in the clubhouse and I heard it. And 16 is a long way from the clubhouse. Talk about the clubhouse shaking. I mean, it was incredible.
And my number 1, the loudest moment ever heard on a golf course, and this just isn't me, this is everybody. Tiger Woods hole-in-one at the party hole in Phoenix.
Tee at 16, listen to the crowd.
Tiger's got 152 yards. Should be just a nice, comfortable 9-iron for him. They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
He went in.
Absolute, the loudest noise to this day that's ever been heard. Can I put a special mention in? Because I thought of it after I've done this.
Yeah, I've been doing that the last couple of weeks of my top 5s. we can have as many as we want.
Back at the 16th hole, it wasn't during the tournament, but Vijay Singh skimming the ball off the pond 5 times and making the hole in one.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And making the hole in one. I forgot it after I made it, but I don't think it sneaks in there, but I think it's worthy of a mention. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, just Google Vijay Singh hole in one Augusta skimming something or other. He skimmed about 5 times on the pond and then went in. That's my top 5. Chase maybe just missed at 6, and then I put VJ at 7.
5B or something.
I'm not going to do a top 10.
Good call.
Who's doing the masterclass this week?
This is you this week. Okay. I've done the last 2.
Righto, so I was transfixed at the Champions Tour event. One, because I used to work there. I told you that before. And I didn't recognise one hole. Not one hole.
So how long did you work there for?
I used to work there each summer.
Oh, okay.
So I'd go to college at Texas Tech. Then a nice family would look after me during the summer break, and I would just work at
What, working in
Los
the pro
Colones.
shop, or you were working in the caddy shack? Or
I was
what?
cleaning buggies, and my job description was clean the buggies and then play with the members.
Oh,
it was such a good job. I loved it.
Beautiful.
I absolutely loved it.
Get the odd tip here and there, I'm sure.
Mate, I won more money on the course than I was getting paid. It was fantastic. It was really, really good. I loved it. But the golf course looked good, and I was watching it, but when the Australians were there. But Charlie Wee, who used to come out to Australia and play, he was nervous. So he was a Monday qualifier, and he's trying to win to get his card. Now, he got rolled by Mark Hensby. We spoke about that again, but I think the second place that'll be pretty handy. So he'll almost be there on the Charles Schwab list. That's going to help him a lot. But you could see he was really, really nervous. Now, they kept on showing close-ups of the putter behind the ball, and one of the ones I saw, it was just great. And Lenny Watkins, who's the commentator, he was talking that he looked really nervous, and that's why he was bouncing. I'm a big believer in the bounce and moving the feet.
You love the bounce, don't you?
I love it. That was my go-to when I was really, really nervous and needed to hold apart.
Yep.
I didn't want to be a statue over the ball. So I would always bounce the putter, just tiny little 1 millimetre bounces. Now, I've got a little, I recorded it on the TV, so I'll post it out there on the thing as well. It takes a little bit of practice. It really does. So when you're looking at the target, when you come back, just bounce the putter. Just bounce the putter. Tiny little 1 millimetre bounces.
Okay.
Move the feet a little bit.
Yeah.
But don't be a statue.
No.
And then a lot of, like your master classes in the past, focus on the line. As soon as you look back, the putter head, because you're bouncing and because you're moving, it'll be a much smoother transition to start that putter back.
Yeah, you're reacting a little bit.
And now if you hear us talking about bouncing, and next time you're watching the television, the close-ups, it's amazing how many of the top players, when they're under enormous pressure, do bounce. You'll see it a lot. Anyway, video will be out there. Make sure you have a look, and it'll be explained a lot better.
Love it.
Nice to see you. I'm surprised you didn't wear an Aces hat or a range goat hat or something like that.
Well, I started calling them the Goat Rangers rather than the Range Goats for some reason. They just sounded better to me.
Good on you, Nick. See you next week.
Cheers, mate.
Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen's podcast Talk Birdie to Me, live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia. We'd love you to follow us on the socials and rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design